Hello dear students, in today's video we are going to discuss about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So the first chemical properties we already saw that when metals react with oxygen and metals react with oxygen they form corresponding metal oxides, and when you dissolve this metal oxides in water, so they will form corresponding metal hydroxides which is basic in nature. So metal oxides are generally basic in nature. So how do we test bases? So metal hydroxide, here you can see when you dissolve sodium oxide in water you will get sodium hydroxide. Similarly potassium oxide, when you dissolve you will get potassium hydroxide. So aluminium oxide, when you dissolve aluminium oxide in water, so you will get aluminium hydroxide. Calcium oxide, when you dissolve in water you will get calcium hydroxide. So metal hydroxides, they are actually basic in nature. So how do we test whether a given substance is base or acid? So here I have brought some acid, so it is a clear solution, and I have got another solution. I have got another solution which is actually sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide pellet. I have dissolved it in water. So here you can see I have got a red litmus paper. So when I put it in the potassium hydroxide solution, so what happens? So its color will change to blue color. So which means that the red color litmus paper will change to blue color. So when it comes in contact with basic substances. So these are some of the examples of bases. So when metals react with oxygen, so they form corresponding metal oxides, and when these metal oxides are dissolved in water, you will get corresponding bases. The next one is acid. So here I have got an acid, so that is sulfuric acid. So we can test the sulfuric acid by using a blue litmus paper. So a blue litmus paper. So when you dip this blue litmus paper into the acid, so what happens? Here you can see the color change. The blue litmus is now changed to red color. So that indicates that the given substance is acidic in nature. So indicators are, these are indicators, litmus indicators, which is actually used for identifying whether the given substance is acidic or basic. So generally you can see the next. When non-metals react with oxygen, they form corresponding non-metallic oxide. When sulfur is burned, it will produce sulfur dioxide. When sulfur dioxide is mixed with water, you will get sulfurous acid, H2SO3. So sulfuric acid, the formula of sulfuric acid is H2SO4, then hydrochloric acid, HCl, then nitric acid HNO3, then carbonic acid H2CO3. So in all these cases, what happens? These four substances can change blue litmus to red color. And the next is the reaction between acids and metals. So this is exothermic in nature, and also you can see I have already put zinc granules into the acid. So that you can see here. A gas is getting bubbled. This gas coming out of this particular acidic solution, that is called hydrogen gas. So we can write the equation just like this. When zinc granules are placed in sulfuric acid, so zinc sulfide is formed there and hydrogen gas will be released into the atmosphere. Here you can see that particular bubbles. Okay. And that is the reaction. So metals generally displace hydrogen gas from acid. That's the general category. So when metals react with bases, all the metals do not react with bases, but especially zinc, aluminium, lead. These metals react with bases and form salt and displace hydrogen gas. And the next one is about reaction of metals with water. So we know that sodium and potassium are highly reactive metals, so they displace water. So they react with water so as to displace hydrogen gas. So the displaced hydrogen gas, and this reaction is highly exothermic. So very large amount of heat energy is released during this reaction, so that the hydrogen gas will catch fire. And especially when you place calcium or zinc in water, the reaction is not that exothermic, for which it will not release a very high amount of heat energy. And similarly, then you can see towards the end, the displacement, another category of reaction, that is called displacement reaction. So what do you mean by displacement reaction? So here I have got copper sulfate solution. Copper sulfate solution. We know that copper sulfate is actually a salt chemical. It is blue in color. So when you put blue color copper sulfate in water and mix it, you will get copper sulfate solution. And I have already put some zinc granules into the copper sulfate solution. So what happens actually during the chemical reaction? So after some time, it may take 5 to 10 minutes. So what happens? So here copper sulfate, the salt solution which I took was copper sulfate, CuSO4, and I have put zinc granules into it. So after a while, what happens here is the zinc will displace copper and form zinc sulfate, and copper will be displaced, and the displaced copper you can see, so that will be just formed. You can see it, you can be seeing it getting coated onto the surface of the zinc granules. So that, see the difference in color. See, this is the actual zinc granule which I have put in the copper sulfate solution. Now see the color of the zinc granule which I have just took out of the copper sulfate solution. This is brownish in color. So the zinc is now coated with copper. So actually, because the reason is that because zinc is more reactive than copper. So that's why zinc can displace copper, and the displaced copper will get deposited over zinc metal. So that's why that looked brown in color. So this is the original color of the zinc granule. But the reverse reaction will not happen. If you take zinc sulfate solution and put copper in it, there will not be any displacement reaction. The reason is that copper is less reactive than zinc. So instead of zinc, you can also take iron, which is somewhat silver in color. Here also, because iron is more reactive than copper, so what happens? So it will lead to the formation of iron sulfate, which is somewhat greenish in color, and copper will get displaced, and the copper will be coated over the iron. You can see a brownish coating over the iron. And towards the end of this session, you will see the use of metals and non-metals. And just you read the textbook and try to find additional 10 more uses of metals and non-metals, and write it in your copy and submit it on Monday. Okay. So I hope you understood this particular part, this lesson well, and go through, read the textbook well, and watch the video carefully. And if you have got any doubt in this particular topic, you can ask me. So study well and stay safe. Thank you.